Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. I'm your host for L2 Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering BelAir. This is season 3, currently streaming on the Peacock streaming network, on a streaming app every Thursday. This is episode 4, entitled Out All Night. I do have, I don't want to say surprise, but just some news for you. They dropped another 3 episodes. I said, oh, so y'all really feeding us this season. So I wonder if it's more than 10. I don't know, but we're going to see. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video and also subscribe to my channel. And please leave your comments below. All right, so let's get into this episode. All right, so LaMarcus, he was rushed to the hospital. And what we find out is that he went into cardiac arrest. He was in the ICU, and we see a little montage of Uncle Phil, Aunt Viv, and also LaMarcus's parents. They're waiting for some type of results. He was in ICU, and then he finally woke up. The next morning or whatever, back at the mansion, Uncle Phil and Carlton, they talk. Uncle Phil catches Carlton up on the status of LaMarcus, and also Carlton updates Uncle Phil about a meeting that he has with Quentin for the business idea. Uncle Phil says that, you've been consistent in everything that we've asked you to do, and I will talk with your mom that we might be able to get your doors up. And Carlton's very excited, and it's, I think, a good reward, at least for a good feeling, especially for how someone could not have trust in you anymore. Now you get rewarded with something to let you know that you are regaining trust. That's one of the best feelings in the world. I've been there, not in Carlton's situation, but in other situations. And it feels so good to have people start to trust you again. Will and Jeffrey talk. Jeffrey's fishing around to really find out what's going on. He's giving these boys a chance to come clean. And basically, he just says, is there anything that you need to tell me? And was Frederick involved in any of it? Will just plays it off like everything's good, Viv is greeted by Joan at the office. Well, not greeted. Joan comes to Viv's office. Aunt Viv. Joan from first season. I think she was in the second season. She was more heavily into storyline season 1. We barely saw her on season 2. But anyway, she's back. And her and Viv, they just talk, I'm going to skip down. Viv says, after telling Joan about the kiss, in my head, I know the kiss means nothing. And Joan says, I really get where you're at, Viv, because you don't have to dismiss how you feel. It's at the same time, like, okay, the kiss didn't mean anything, but then you decided to keep it a secret. And then you continue to have a career relationship with this woman, and you guys are flaunting around. It's like, how is somebody supposed to feel? How is somebody just supposed to move on without feeling any type of way? But Viv says, thank you for hearing me out, and thank you for feeling where I am. She says, I really need something of because right now my head feels crazy with everything with Phil, and then also with how overlooking Carlton in the mess that he created. And Joan offers a weed pen, but she says this is in the office, we can't do that. So she just says you need to release. So let's have a girls' night out. All right, so LaMarcus is up. Hillary goes to see him. He finds out that he's been living with a heart condition. I didn't hear all what he said, but he's apparently had it his whole life, but did not know. And the doctors want to do open heart surgery on him. By the end of the episode, I don't know if he actually had the episode, or the surgery or not, but I guess we'll find out later. So Mr. Alton, which is LaMarcus's father, they come in, and basically he's in work mode. He got to get back on the field. LaMarcus feels that way too. And Hillary's like, well, wait a minute. He just died or died on the field. And are you sure about all of this? He's not ready for doing that yet. And basically, they just pay her dust in that whole situation. Now, I don't know, because, you know, I'm a Jazzery team, whatever, team Jazz and Hillary. I think kind of, even though LaMarcus lets her do her thing as far as with her cooking and all that and branding, I don't think women really have a say in that family. That's what I'm picking up right now, and we're going to have to see how things go by the end of the season. Will and Carlton, right before they have the business meeting, or really business class to me, Will goes over what he was talking with Jeffrey, and he said, look, I don't know about keeping anything from these guys. You know, my parents are just starting to trust me, and Will's like, I don't think it's our time to really get involved, blah, 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 blah. So the class starts. Another person presents what they have as an idea. They're supposed to be meeting with someone with the name Meghan Markle. Then Will and Carlton, they start talking about their business. In Black Success, that's what it is another word for Black access. What they're doing, at least with the t-shirts, they're starting the t-shirts just to make some revenue, and 50% goes back into Black businesses. Then everyone had all these questions about how they're going to make, what's the cost, what's the CPA, cost per average, and all that. Will is not that business savvy as of yet. Carlton jumps in on some things. Will tries to wing stuff a lot and be impromptu since he doesn't know everything that was going on. But anyways, the goal for every student within the class, they have to have a business up and running and profitable by the end of summer. So later on, they transition over to Jazz and try to find out where the heck is your boy at right now with the shirts. It's kind of, Jazz says he will come up with you, but it's kind of like a hookup type situation. He's a bootlegger type t-shirt company, and he works on his own time. And Carlton doesn't really feel all of that. Will and Carlton kind of get into an argument about Will making all of these decisions. Carlton was like, you know, why don't we just ask my dad for the revenue so we can get the t-shirts and all that? He's like, no, we don't want any handouts, blah, 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 blah. Phil and Jeffrey, they're out golfing, at least Phil is, and Phil just lets him know that you were right, all that good stuff. He thinks that he's going to have to cut off ties with Erica. Jeffrey just says, you know, I can offer support and advice as far as the business realm. In regards to marriage, nah, I'm not going to do that, but he does say that him and Phil will get through this. Phil wants to hope that too, but she won't talk to him. So they're thinking about the whole construction dude and the development that he's making, Omar Campbell, as a tentative replacement for this whole Erica stuff going on. So back at the mansion, Will answers the door. Lisa's there. It's kind of a surprise. She doesn't have any. She doesn't have to go to her job, and she also doesn't have any training. And she wants to be with Will, but she also has another surprise. She brings Amira around, and they want a double date to the beach. And they're kind of like, okay, I guess we weren't really expecting this. I guess because Will and Carlton are in an awkward space right now, and also they need to get the business going. Jazz, he comes up to the hospital. He just sends his, I don't want to say respects, but sends good vibes or whatever about the whole situation with LaMarcus, and his parents made food for her and him or whatever. She thanks him and all that good stuff. They talk about the kiss. Jazz says, you know, it's all on me. You know, I did all that, da 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 da. And she was like, well, you know, you're right that I'm a runner, and when things seem complicated or whatever, I find a way to F things up. Basically, she's talking about her and LaMarcus, and maybe it was supposed to be about them. And then all of a sudden, one of the IG models that Jazz runs with comes up there and says, Miss Girl seems to need your attention, so I'm going to let you handle that. So then Jazz gets a little upset, like, I told you to wait in the car. I said, Jazz, why did you bring her with you? because that looks insincere. And I know that you were genuine in what you were doing, but you did not have to bring her. I don't even care if she was just waiting in downstairs. Like, that's not cool. Like, come on. We trying to work with you. We got to get you two back together. All right, so it's beach time. And Carlton and Will, they are griping to their respective love bays or whatever you want to call it. They're not seeing eye to eye. Later on, the women, they come up with, okay, let's play this volleyball game. The girls against the boys. The boys suck together because they don't know how to work together and because their egos are in the way. They lose. And I guess the winning point was Will said he got it. He didn't have it. When he said, when I got it, I got it. But then Carlton was like, you say that, but you can't deliver. Ooh. So they still arguing and all that good stuff. Blah, 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 blah. So Uncle Phil and Jeffrey, they go downtown. And what's going on at the development that Omar is working or developing is a protest against gentrification that's happening within that whole neighborhood. Omar is against this protest. He's like, hey, I'm from this neighborhood, and what we're doing is good, and all that good stuff. Uncle Phil ends up jumping in, because there are reporters there also, and kind of speaks as his representative without being the representative, and saying, you know, I think that we should have regular forums and all this good stuff. And they're like, oh, are you an investor in this business? Like, no, I want to be a representative. We are the representation for Omar, whatever his business is. Of course, he has not talked with Omar as of yet, but Omar's like, I didn't ask for this. And he said, well, it looks like you need the help. And somehow, because Uncle Phil was like, nobody's voice is wrong in this whole situation. We just need to meet together. I love the show. I love this show. Because they're showing community, even when there is issues. They're showing up and they're showing us black people how we can work together. Instead of, I'm right, you're wrong, da 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 da. I love it. I really love it. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil, they finally meet up to talk. Well, at least Phil wants to talk. And Aunt Viv is still not in the mood. She is ready. She got, I'm saying it this way, but she got Beyonce's freaking dress on. And she's ready to have a night that does not have any drama. And she's going out with her girls. And Phil says, okay. So, Hillary comes by after Aunt Viv leaves and says, oh, are we having family dinner? So already family dinner is broken. I said, Lord, that was too quick for y'all. Ashley's at a sleepover and Will and Carlton are doing their thing. They're like, wait, y'all got to get this thing together. Hopefully by the end of the season, they are back into the family dinners. Uncle Phil says, you know, I'm not too good at any food preparation. And Hillary said, I got this. So she makes a girl dinner, which is basically some crackers and cheese and all that good stuff. But we'll get back on them again in just a few minutes. So the girls' night out, they dance party. Vivian ends up dancing with this guy, nothing serious or whatever. They dance to Mary J. Blige's "Let's Get It Started." Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. That song. So later on, they finally sit down and all that good stuff. And Joan tells Viv, because there's two other ladies that show up. And Joan asks, you know, show the ladies that hot chef that you are working with. And they do. And then Viv starts liking his IG pictures because they're pretty hot. I said, oh, Lord, Vivian. So I'm sure in the next episode, which I have not watched as of yet, there's going to be a response to them liking those pictures. Lord, Vivian. Oh. All right, so Hillary and Phil, they have a talk. Phil asking him how's Lamarcus. Hillary feels like he's not ready, even though the family is putting pressure to get back on the field and all that good stuff. But I don't feel like it's my place to say anything. And Phil said, I want you to know it's always your place to speak up, especially you're about to be his wife. That's why I think that Hillary still has to be this docile wife that everybody's so going up for because he done bought this and that. He just gave her something to work with, but I still want you to be my little plate, my trophy wife. I think so. Um, Hillary says, you know, I don't want to add any more additional stress, and I haven't been perfect. And Phil says nobody's perfect. You're going to make mistakes, but as long as you're putting in the work and showing up when he needs you the most, everything will go well with you guys. And then basically that was comfort, thanks to Dad. And then Phil was like, can we make a man dinner? That was a good bonding moment. I love this family. I love this show. I love the intermingling of relationships. It's not just daddy's girl, mama's, you know, it's really cool to see all that. Well, we'll get there in just a second. Yeah. There's something else I want to talk about, but anyways. So Will and Lisa, Will apologizes for making things difficult, and Lisa says, you know, all will be forgiven if you make it up to me about some of the questions for the business stuff. Will doesn't know too much about it, but of course Lisa doesn't give him a hard time about it. And they just kind of laugh it off right then and there. Hillary goes back up to the hospital and sees LaMarcus is up and trying to push himself, and he's struggling. And Hillary's like, you need more time to heal. Are you okay? So we find out that LaMarcus has been reading the negative reports online, and it's shifting his focus to that he needs to get back out there on the field before it's time. And Hillary says, the world will wait for you. But LaMarcus isn't feeling that. All right, so Amira and Carlton, they have their moment. Amira's like, you know, you got to get out your own head about this whole situation. Carlton's like, you know, this has to work. I have nothing else that I can actually depend upon. And he is afraid that Will is going to mess this opportunity up for them. But he does say that, you know, right now the old me would have gone on and taken a hit by now. And I'm thinking about stopping by one of the AA meetings. Amira says, maybe you don't have to stop by an AA meeting. Huh? So she says, how about getting another kind of high? So basically she entices Carlton in making him feel so good. You know, when you were racing, I wish I was in the passenger seat, and all this good stuff. So then they start speeding or whatever, and they're looking at each other while he's driving. Not even watching the road. Then she kisses him, and then she ends up doing something else. She goes down on him and sucks his D. I said, Amira, okay. Now that's going to be some other type of high. I don't know what type of high. That's like two different type of highs that are going on. Making this stuff so erotic and this chase of speed. My God, Amira. She told us her resume. I don't think Carlton knows. But Amira, you playing with fire. And Carlton, you playing with fire too. All right, so back to girls' night. Viv starts talking about Phil. You know, I haven't had the energy to talk to Phil. Neither any other energy to do anything else. And obviously she's talking about sex. They ask, you know, how long has it been? And she says it's been 2 months. But she says she doesn't really feel like doing it until she trusts him again. I can't argue with that. You know, I don't know women like that, but I know that women are responsive in another way that you just got to respect. Women don't act on impulse. They're not, how can I say this? Like a man could be aroused and ready to go at it, but women have their feelings and all that into it, and they want to have an experience, so they're not going to open up unless they feel comfortable and safe with you. Despite being also turned on, as far as being, I'll say, horny. That's my knowledge. Women, whomever is watching this, y'all can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Or if I need to add something, tell me in the comments, please. They woke up. But what is it? I don't know. Anyway, so one of the girls said, well, what does this Erica look like? So she searches her online, or asks for the name so she can look to see what she looked like. They said, well, let's go stop by this place and just tear some stuff up. And they're just laying there. You know, because these women are quite middle-aged at this point, going into the next phase of their life. I'll keep it like that. I'm not going to say that they're menopausal, but it's about that time. I wonder if, I just thought about this. I wonder if at some point there's going to be another baby. Because we had Nikki on The Fresh Prince of BelAir. I'm just wondering. Anything, they just laugh it off. They know they weren't going to do nothing. Carlton goes home, and you can see that he's quite high. He sees the doors, they're still off, and then he walks out on the terrace. Jeffrey comes out there, and Carlton ends up confessing without any prompting from Jeffrey and says, hey, you know, the other night when you picked us up, we were speed racing. And I also don't want to come between you and Frederick. And he says, say less, I'll handle Frederick. But he says, you know, it's quite admirable for a man to come and confess on his own accord. Basically, you know, it's good that you were able to tell us what was up and not really prompted to tell the truth about whatever. Good job, Carlton, today. Viv and Phil, I think this was another way to bring affirmation to Carlton that he's heading in the right direction. He's tempted to do other things, but we shall see what's going to happen. Hopefully he gets to a meeting and not deterred by Miss Amira for too long. All right, so Viv comes home, and you know, she's quite, you can tell that she's had fun. And Viv was like, you didn't have to wait up for me. He said, well, I couldn't really sleep without knowing if you were safe. And I'm adding this on, I'm safe. You know, I thought we could talk. Well, I'm not really in the mood to talk. Maybe tomorrow, yeah. Like, there's some apathy about the whole situation from Viv as she's walking up the stairs. So it's like, ooh, okay, quite uncomfortable. Will and Carlton finally talk. This is the next morning. Will says, hey, we can't be beefing if we're going to be partners. You know, your boardroom ready, and I'm playing catch up. And then Carlton was like, don't beat yourself up. You know, I basically came out my room knowing all this stuff, you know. But the tables have turned. There's not much that you could really tell me about basketball like that. So Will says, you know, I want to win on my own terms and no handouts. But isn't that what Lou was talking about? That now I get where you're coming from, but it was like you got mad when Lou was talking about that in the other episode. So y'all tell me how y'all feel about that, because it just seems like, okay, you want to get on your own terms. But it's not, without Uncle Phil and Viv opening their house, you wouldn't have had another opportunity. All of a sudden they hear this truck backing up and the doorbell rings. The shipment of t-shirts have come from Jazz's dude. 20 boxes show up. There's 50 shirts in there. They only ordered 100, but how they do things is that they order by bulk. So that's 1,000 t-shirts. We don't know the remaining balance, but basically the balance is due in a week. And Carlton's like, how are we going to do that? And Will's like, no sweat, my pet, basically in that type of way of acting, you know. It's that whole Willism type thing where he gets in situations and brings Carlton along, and Carlton's more of a worrywart, and Will's like, no sweat, we'll get this done. So back at the hospital, Hillary kind of dresses up LaMarcus to kind of change the narrative, and they do a selfie together and basically saying, you know, stronger than ever, blah, 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 blah. We'll be out on the field, and just kind of change the motion of things, and also to lift up his spirits also. So Hillary's there for LaMarcus, so we shall see what happens in the next episode. There's 3, as I stated in the beginning of this video. It's going to take me a while to get through the others. Maybe tomorrow I'll have another one up, and then Saturday another one. It just depends on how my schedule is, but probably just one and one. One for each day. But I love this season. I love this show. Leave your comments below. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Or, yeah, do all that stuff. And until the next one, peace.